So we were established in 2012. We're 21 people. Most of us are in research and development, as you would expect. This required a lot of brain power to get something that what we're trying to do together. If you're thinking about the fixed income world, especially about bond construction, bond portfolio construction, it's not a small feat. And I'll kind of walk you through it through this short deck. It's only 7 slides, so we'll breeze right through it. In order to create bond, we had to combine 3 core strengths. The first one, which I've kind of mentioned, is our team. In order to do a financial engineering instrument, something that could really be used to help clients, small and large, increase their assets under management and differentiate themselves while cutting on costs and saving time, you really need people that understand the business, coming from Goldman Sachs and Barclays. You also need people that can do the deep research and machine learning that's required. So our 4 PhDs with like a lot of really fancy terms. But you need people that understand data as well. Why data? Data is actually the second point. When you look at bond portfolios, when you look at bonds generally speaking, it's a very complex entity. There are hundreds of bonds out there. There's over 3 million in the world. And each and every one has hundreds of parameters. You try to put all of those together, kind of squeeze them in while trying to adhere to your client's specific constraints and needs. It becomes a very daunting task. We spent 3.5 years basically building algorithms that allow us to work with top vendors around the world, data vendors, structuring all that data, cleaning it, correcting it, and then presenting it in a way that's very easily digestible. And I'll show you about how the system looks, a slide about how the system looks for about a few seconds just to get a taste. Last but not least, our algo guys. I can probably speak about that for the better part of an hour. Let's just say they're really, really smart. And they managed to find a way to produce, using, again, machine learning, to produce the maximum yields for the lowest risk. So in addition to the usual story that you get from your bond portfolio manager, he can actually tell you, John, if you move from option A to option B, I'm going to increase your yield by 24 basis points, but I'm going to reduce your value at risk by about 0.5%. Isn't that a wonderful way to kind of get people with a little bit more left brain to make a decision versus just telling them, you know, you really got to buy Tesco, they're doing great right now. Last but not least, by any means, we're running in 2 of the major banks in Israel. We love having them as clients. We have a JVs in Korea, Italy, and IBM. I'll speak a little bit about the Korean one because we're super excited about it. We've been fortunate enough to be selected to participate both in Startup Bootcamp and in FitTech Innovation Lab. And a quick word about this that's not published yet and is going to be out in the next couple of months. We're in contact with 2 very large banks. One centered in America and the other one is centered in Asia. One of them for a proof of concept and the other one for a joint project. So we're very excited about those. So, you know, watch this space. Why now? Why are we coming to solve this problem now? There are 3 reasons, and this will be very, very quick. The data reason is the main one, as I mentioned. There's been a big move from over-the-counter to an exchange-driven. What does that mean? Up to 5 years ago, bonds traded between one person and another. So it was very difficult to actually go and get that information to try to construct a bond portfolio. Now we've moved to electronic exchange trading so the data is there and it's just waiting to be mined by people who can do it. The second part is the technology part. We talked about artificial intelligence or machine learning. We need that kind of firepower to solve this problem and it's finally become available. The third part to me is the most important one. It's the human element. Robo-advisory has come to the forefront and people feel much more comfortable. We have quotes from the CEO of Aberdeen and BlackRock just buying Future Advisor basically saying the landscape is changing. People want to get help and people want to get help from people that get help from technology. So what's the problem we're trying to solve? The process of building a bond portfolio is very error prone, it's time consuming. The scenario is quite simple. A client comes to Rabobank and says, hey, I want to invest 10 million of my wealth with you guys. He sits down with a very enthusiastic and very intelligent asset manager, wealth manager, let's call her Cindy. Cindy comes in with the best intentions at heart. She tries to understand what the client wants and tries to build a portfolio that fits his needs and wants. It's a very, very difficult process. It takes quite a few days and in the end almost always leads to a suboptimal client experience. The alternative is to have a data-driven solution that will help Cindy create a few scenarios within a few minutes and then an hour later after the client calls, she can call him back and say, Dear John, here's the few things I'm thinking about since our call. Do those fit? And while this thing is still fresh in his mind, they can review some of these options instead of days later when the market has moved and maybe he doesn't like a few of those options. It gives her the ability to truly do an optimization that is tailor-made, that is customized for John. He doesn't feel like he's getting a cookie-cutter solution, but something that's personalized to him. And it's a demand that is only growing in our customer base. We all want things to be much more personalized than they were ever before. Last but not least, as we say, it helps with client acquisition and it provides monitoring and alerts. Now, why is that important? A lot of times bond portfolios, unlike equities, your bond portfolio accrues money all the time through dividends and through redemptions. If you don't have an automatic instrument that basically tells you this is a good time to rebalance, you're basically disservicing your client. One of the things that we love, one of the quotes from our clients was that he looks at BondIT as a triple win. His client gets better yields and lowest risk. He, the advisor, gets to look more intelligent while spending less time and actually spending more time with his clients and more time with the market. Again, helping to increase his assets under management and helping to differentiate the bank. And the third win is the bank because they get to execute more transaction. Much more likely when you can appeal to a larger client base. Couple of screenshots. I know it's too small to see, but what I'm trying to convey here is that we managed to visualize a lot of this information. Even though I can provide you with detailed cash flows and extremely detailed information about the bonds, I can also show you the risk and how your margin risk is actually shaping out. So the more intelligent your client or the more demanding, if it's a fund or if it's an industry player, you can actually tell them, listen, 25% of your value at risk is coming from this specific industry. Are you comfortable with that exposure? And if they are, great, and if not, we can change it. Two last bits. One about competition. There's no direct competition exactly for what we do, which makes it a little bit more difficult. There are a lot of players out there that say that they give you the world on a silver platter. When you delve a little bit deeper or look behind a curtain, you see that they're talking about ETFs or some sort of optimization of equity that's not really individual bonds. So the solution we provide can truly be tailored to any one of our clients to provide that added value, that competitive advantage that's missing right now from the marketplace. And lastly, in terms of our go-to-market, and I want to finish with our vision. So we've already had a Europe sales kickoff, and we're going to do a soft launch of our US-denominated product in the next couple of weeks. We're very excited about that. I promised to give you a word about Korea Investor Services. They're a Moody's affiliate in Korea. They control 93% of the market. We have launched a project with them. It's a multi-million-dollar project with an expected revenue of $35 million over the next 5 years once it's completed. They're a great player. We're in the same niche and we keep working together and really create something that's bigger than both of us. We're very excited about 2016 where we're going to focus on integration and proof of concept. Last but not least, we want to shoot for a white label solution, more larger multinationals. Our vision to finish up with that is to reinvent fixed income and inventory management, and we'll be happy if you become our partners in that. Thank you very much.